We are lucky in the sense that we are not in a crowded market right now. What we are doing is fairly unique. The most important thing is to align the investment with business goals and finding the right use cases. Outsourcing is a major trend, and I always believe that talent is equally distributed around the world on a per capita basis. But the key with outsourcing is making sure that you're retaining IP, maintaining strong relationship, but also never becoming a backseat driver.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Devico Breakfast Bar. Here we speak with different people involved in the business landscape, share their expertise, delve into the latest tech trends, and explore the ins and outs of IT outsourcing. I'm Oleg Sadikov, and today I'm excited to have Mohan Rao, Chief Product and Technology Officer at Knownwell. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss new episodes. Hi Mohan, and thanks for joining me today.
Hi Oleg, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Let's start our podcast with a little blitz. I start a sentence and you continue. Career in tech gave me.
Great opportunities.
Career in tech deprived me.
Of time to pursue a lot of other interests, but hopefully I'll get to it someday soon.
My main superpower is
ability to synthesize thoughts and opinions of all team members and stakeholders.
My main weakness is
I'd say it is around maintaining constant energy through a project. I focus a lot on start of the project and end of the project.
When I'm afraid,
I just start writing.
For our listeners unfamiliar with Knownwell, could you explain what your AI SaaS platform does?
Yeah, we are building an AI native commercial intelligence platform. What this means is we synthesize natural information flows, conversations like the one we are having, but with clients. And for services companies, we are providing a platform to provide retention intelligence, growth intelligence, client knowledge management. So the end outcome that we're looking for is for our customers to become more client-centric in their operations.
What are some of the key challenges you face in developing and maintaining this platform?
Building AI native products are new. So there is an extremely fast pace of technology changes. Oleg, you know this, you live this. Things move very, 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 very quickly. And so keeping on top of it, yet providing a B2B product that is stable, constantly innovating is a challenge. In particular, I would also say that coming up with a new type of UX that's necessary for AI native products is new and is constantly evolving. Those are some of the key challenges I'll highlight.
How do you balance the demands of product development and technological innovation?
Oleg, we are a startup, and we are about 9 months into developing our platform. So we've not had to do much of that type of balancing that you do. So almost everything that we are doing is sort of wrapped in innovation because we are still in the early days. But ultimately, it will be a balance of serving your customers with current demands and serving them with future demands. And the future demands are going to be more on the innovation scale, and the current demands, I would say, would be more product development, right? So adding a feature here, adding a feature there. I think of that as product development. Innovation's going to be much more step changes. We have to do both, but right now they're all wrapped into one for us.
What trends in AI and SaaS you're currently most excited about?
Very interested in two things I'll highlight there. One is around using and adding your own algorithms on top of it is novel and new. Very, very excited about using that combination of intelligence that you can get from LLMs, but also your own models that you're running. That is sort of one area. And the other area is around what we are calling ambient UX. So this is UX, user experience, that is totally different. It's not, some of it looks traditional, as in, it's a browser-based UI, but a lot of it is AI just running environment around you. And that is a new type of UX. But there are so many other aspects as well in building these types of products, the ethical portion of it, the explainability while you're building the product, whether you're writing requirements environments or testing or writing software, be able to use copilots and Gen AI. It totally seems like a new world that we are very excited about.
What are the key factors that drive successful innovation in the tech industry?
There are different ways of going about driving innovation. Obviously, if you're a larger company, you have a way of thinking about it as R&D for the next cycles that are coming. But in a startup, there are 2 or 3 things that I very closely track. One is around being very customer-centric in our approach, right? So we make sure that everything that we're doing from innovation perspective tracks to some customer benefit. When you do that, speed to market is very important, so you can get feedback very quickly. And then I would say the team you build and the culture of innovation and risk taking are all inherent to how you think about innovation. And these are the team ultimately is what makes you successful, the quality of the team you build and the customer centric approach.
In your opinion, what skills are essential for leaders in the AI and SaaS industries?
Yeah, there are so many of them, Oleg. But, starting with, I would say, customer research and just being very centric to the problems that your target customer segment is facing, developing strategic vision around it, obviously having the technical expertise to pull this off, right? So that is always essential. There are so many things, leadership and team building, just being very adaptable. And then the last thing I'd say are how you can communicate and tell stories about your product and problems. So these are all elements of things that are essential for leaders to master.
What strategies can companies adopt to differentiate themselves in such a crowded market? What particularly you do for this?
We are lucky in the sense that we are not in a crowded market right now. What we are doing is fairly unique. But in general, when you have to differentiate yourself in a crowd, we have other challenges. We have to make a new market. But when you're in a crowded market, it means that there is already demand. So now it's all about standing out, right? So one way to do that would be to find niche focus and deeply specialize. That's one way. The other way would be to offer great customer experience or be on the bleeding edge of innovation. Being in a platform ecosystem might be one. Pricing, focusing on thought leadership, focusing on personalization. These are all like big items. You can't do all of this, but when you're in a crowded market, you have to pick 1 or 2 of these and just get very, 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 very good at it. So when your potential customer thinks about who should I approach, they should think of you when they think of innovation or when they think about a deep specialization in something or thought leadership.
What advice would you give to companies that looking to invest in AI and SaaS technologies for long-term success?
Yeah, there are a lot of people investing, and this is a question that we get very often. I would say fundamentally, the most important thing is to align the investment with business goals and finding the right use cases, right? So you could say, let me find the most critical use case, but let me start off with this relatively small thing, get going, but start attacking some real pain points, finding real use cases. Once you get going, it's important to have a long-term vision and then iteratively execute on the vision. Obviously, we all know, being technologists, having the right infrastructure, tech stack, being data-driven culture is so important, but ultimately it comes down to balancing innovation with practicality.
IT outsourcing is a major trend in the tech industry. What are your thoughts on the advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing tech functions?
Outsourcing is a major trend and I think is essential, right? But you have to understand why you're outsourcing. Are you doing this for cost reasons? Are you doing this for capacity reasons? Are you doing this for specialized skill set? I personally have always built teams with extreme high talent, and I always believe that talent is equally distributed around the world on a per capita basis. So ultimately, if you're looking for high talent, you have to go with wherever you can find the talent. But the key to the question that you asked is understanding why you want to outsource.
This is a good point. And how a company assess whether outsourcing is the right move for their IT needs?
That it really comes down to, again, the previous question that you asked, Oleg, like why are you outsourcing, right? So it starts there. But the normal ways of doing it is, by outsourcing, what are you gaining? Are you going to take a core versus non-core approach? There are certain things that you want to do yourself within the company. You can call them core functions, and then you can outsource the non-core functions. You can outsource some systems, but not all the systems. So it's really kind of understanding how you partition it and whether you're going to be in a hybrid model or fully outsourced model. These are all very important questions, and then understand the cost implications of these.
What steps can leaders take to ensure a smooth transition when moving to an outsourcing partner?
We all know, having been in this market and worked with outsourcing partners over the years, starting off with clarity in scope and expectations, potentially starting small and then maintaining strong relationship and just kind of having clarity. And when there are issues, having like a weekly or bi-weekly meeting where anything that is festering, you just solve it on a bi-weekly basis. These are all the things that are super important when you move to an outsourced IT model.
I know that you believe that resources are spread around the world equally, but can you tell me a few specific regions or countries that you find particularly promising for the tech talent?
I have generally, because I'm a product builder, right? So more CTO than CIO, if you will, over the last decade and a half, used more of the Eastern European companies. Why is that? It's because there is a larger overlap in time zone, right? So the time zone is super important when you're in a small team and you're moving really fast. If you just have 1 hour or 2 hours overlap, it's very hard. But on the other hand, if you have 4 or 5 hours overlap, it's pretty much ideal, right? So my experience has been mostly with Eastern Europe, but I've also used India quite a bit for other reasons, because ultimately you're looking for the best talent that you can get. These are some of the ones I've had a lot of success with working with outsourcing partners over the years, and I've mainly used Eastern Europe. I know there are people who use South America quite a bit as well. I don't have as much experience in. I've used some in Central America that has also worked out well. But ultimately it is, if you're looking for high talent, it's available everywhere, we discussed, but it comes down to communications, time zone overlap, trust in the leadership.
Cultural differences, probably.
Cultural differences, right? So, because there are people who can do product development well, people who can do your regular IT better in other ways. So these are all there are differences between various regions.
Yeah, totally agree. As we wrap up our conversation, what advice would you give to companies considering IT outsourcing but concerned about losing control over their technology projects?
I think it starts out with just understanding who you are, and why you want to outsource, right? So, and just having complete clarity over the decision. And once you have clarity, you have a choice. You can fully outsource or you can work in hybrid teams. Personally, for me as a product developer, I prefer hybrid teams, right? So literally when we are working, I don't think of somebody as, hey, they're part of our team versus part of a vendor team. I don't think that at all. It's all one team. So that is one way to, if you don't have to kind of hand over the keys and just forget it, right? So there are approaches. There is also having strong clarity in scope and expectations. There are strong communication channels. You could always start small and see how it works. But the key with outsourcing is making sure that you're retaining IP, maintaining strong relationship, but also never becoming a backseat driver, right? So it doesn't matter what percentage of the project that you have outsourced, whether it is 33%, 50%, or 100%, but keeping control over your own IP, keeping control over the scope and expectations of the project is very, 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 very important. And that is how you can avoid getting burned. You cannot outsource your problems away, but right, so you still have to be in charge of the problems that you're trying to solve. But using outsourcing is a fantastic way to bring in more talent, getting things done more quickly because you've got more capacity, so on and so forth. I wouldn't be overly concerned as long as you set some of the fundamentals on the right path and find that right partner right from the beginning.
Thank you, Mohan. It was a really useful conversation. Thanks for sharing your insights, thoughts, ideas. I'm sure this information will be valuable for my auditory.
Awesome. Oleg, thanks for having me, and it was fun to speak with you.
If you enjoy our discussion and want to stay updated on future episodes, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you will not miss out on the latest insights and conversations from the Devico Breakfast Bar. See you in the next episode.